All right, so let's get into an overview on everything you wanted to know, but were afraid to ask on building and configuring a secure IT infrastructure. And this network topology diagram is what we're going to build. And it's virtually everything that would be included in a large commercial organization. We're going to go through this lightning fast because there will be a separate digital recording on each one of these components. And you may be sitting out there thinking, oh man, this looks intimidating. There's a lot here, but we will lead you by the hand and have you be entirely successful at putting all this together. All right, so let's start here with us. There we are in the lower left-hand corner there. So first we just have the laptop and we want to get out to the public internet, right? So most of you probably already have this either at your home or at your organization. You're going to have an ISP, an internet service provider, and they'll have a router that creates this secure perimeter for you. So this rounded blue rectangle, that's your security perimeter. That's either for your home network or your organization network. You probably want a GitHub account, entirely optional. It's free. You could have up to 500 megabytes of storage. And this is for primarily storing your source code. So Java or JavaScript, C#, SQL, Python, right? And you could store really anything. GitHub doesn't know or care what you're storing. It's just going to store your files for you. But that's entirely optional. You're going to have other PCs in your organization or in your family. And IoT devices, Internet of Things. So this is phones, but it could also be your printer or your garage door opener or your refrigerator. So this is all these different hosts, different computers. This computer here is where we're going to be doing most of our work. And we're going to be doing it on a Windows Server 2025 machine. And the best option that I found are these little mini PCs. We're going to have more about this in a future digital recording, but $188, and everything that we're going to build that we're going to show you here is going to go on this one little computer for less than $200. There's another option if you don't want to have this be on-prem, but we'll talk about that in a bit here. So this red rounded rectangle, these two are the same. We're just getting more room here because we're going to put other stuff in here to talk about. And the first thing that we're going to put on our Windows Server is Hyper-V. Hyper-V allows us to create virtual machines. So instead of getting another hardware computer, we're going to have virtual computers. We need a virtual switch, and that virtual switch is going to allow us here to connect our Windows machine to the rest of the network. The first VM virtual machine we're going to have is an Ubuntu Linux server. And on that, we're going to have an Nginx web server. And let's get rid of me here so we can see all this. On that web server, we'll build several websites and show you how to do that. It's good in your test and development environments to have certificates, and you want to have self-signed certificates there. This is kind of a lost art, but I went through substantial blood, sweat, and tears and trial and error, and I've got this all working, and we'll go through it step by step with you. Self-signed certificates, of course, you use only in development or test. You don't use them in production. IIS is the Windows web server, so it's basically the same as Nginx, just two different ways of doing the same thing. We'll have databases. We'll have an Active Directory domain controller here, And I actually have this on a separate machine. Again, another one of these guys because they're so cheap. But you could put that as a VM if you wanted to. And if you have an Active Directory domain controller, you also need a backup domain controller. An Active Directory is primarily where you do authentication. For cybersecurity, we're going to have another Linux VM running Burp Suite, and then another Linux VM running Kali Linux and Metasploit. We'll have Kubernetes clusters, show you how to use those. Okay, remember I said that instead of having this hardware, there's an option. So you could get a machine on a cloud server. So this would be either Microsoft Azure, AWS, that's Amazon, or Google Cloud. So these two red boxes are really the same. We could have your Windows server in this cloud server or on the hardware that you're going to buy for $188. This Linux server down here is a GLUE OAuth 2.0 STS. That's a secure token service that does identity access management. Again, this is also an option for authentication. Active Directory and OAuth 2.0 both serve authentication. Michael Schwartz has a solution called Glue. Mike's a great guy, and we're going to show you how to do this. Google KMS Password Vault. This is very complex. We actually have a 1-hour digital recording tutorial on how to do that. We'll take you through every step of the way. So now let's talk about why we're doing this. If you are an individual, you'll be building this as a home office network. If you're an organization, you typically have two environments. If you have a software development team, you'll have a development environment, and you'll build all this. And then you'll build a second time for quality assurance or testing. You could build a third one as a production environment clone. So this allows you to regression test anything and everything here in this clone environment of production before it goes into production. And finally, you could build yet another environment as a honeypot clone. Honeypots are fake production networks to trap threat actors or cyber criminals. You'll want to consider a second ISP account to entirely isolate your production system from the ones that you're going to be building now. And yeah, so there it is.